Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Parlay, Awthentik and The Beard, the best television show not on television. It is week 14. We are down to the nitty and gritty. For most people, this is the last week before playoffs start in fantasy football. And the NFL did us no favors by having 6 bye games this week, which is going to make things a little bit more difficult. But no need to worry. You got The Beard and the best co-host in the universe, Craig, Mr. Awthentik himself. Let's bring him in. Let's get right to it. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. It was a struggle to get out of bed thinking about this ass kicking the Eagles are about to give my New York Giants today. But this is why they play the game. So I got a little bit of hope. We'll see, man. We'll see how this first half goes, and maybe the Giants can stick in this game. But otherwise than that, I'm doing all right, man. Trucking through. Ready for this, what do we got, 13 games on the slate? I'm ready for it.
There is a lot of interesting injury news that we will be watching. There's still some players out there that are on the fringe. There's still some players that have yet to be officially ruled out, even though we are anticipating them to be ruled out. There's players like Saquon Barkley who are 50-50 that we're, waiting to see. So there's a lot of information that's still out there. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, I saw the questions coming in early this morning. Shout out to the chat. If you have any questions, fantasy related or NFL betting related, please drop them in the chat. We will definitely answer them as we go along throughout the show. We appreciate each and every one of you for being here early with us at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to make sure that we, get out of here in time to give you guys that last 30 minutes to an hour to fix your lineups.
That's definitely been getting in the way for me a little bit. I've had some mishaps this year as far as my lineup goes. I luckily snuck out a win 2 weeks ago without starting Joe Mixon in the lineup. And I went and acquired the Bucs defense to swap out for the Patriots defense when they were going up some juggernaut, and ended up not putting them in the lineup. I ended up taking the L in that game too. So, I'm going to definitely need that time myself. But, we're going to get to it.
Yeah, and you want to know what's even crazier is I'm already in a major hole, and I'm fighting
with Derek Carr.
With Derek Carr, because Lamar Jackson is basically not going to play, and I went with Derek Carr, who I've been playing fairly well as of late, and laid an absolute dud. 2.38 points or something like that.
That's
absolutely
scary.
Insane.
Under 150 yards or something like that. 10 completions. Got showed up by Baker Mayfield. Whew.
Oh, shout out Baker Mayfield.
Shout out Baker
Look, Mayfield.
I have a way that I'm gauging people here, okay? This is the test to see if you're a bad human being. If you woke up after Thursday night and you was talking shit about Baker Mayfield, you're a bad human being, because that is a movie. You talk about a Disney Tudo type story. That is a Disney type story, man. Like 2 minutes left. This guy just got there 2 minutes ago. He drives his team down the field to win the game with a bunch of backup wide receivers and nobody on that squad. Literally, they were out of that game. That penalty saved them. So big shout out. Big shout out to Baker Mayfield, man. Big props to that guy.
Mayfield. Hey, we got a lot of people here bright and early. 30 people watching here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up while you are here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and say some quick shout outs and answer some early questions, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling into the segments. Big shout out to Juan Pena, who came out the gate dropping questions early this morning, 9:06 a.m. Big shout out to Juan. Says, hey, who for my wide receiver 1 and 2? Mike Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson, DJ Shark, Boyd, or Zay Jones?
Ooh, that's a lot. It's tough, too. Okay, right off the bat, definitely not Deontay Johnson. Right off the bat. He's been struggling. He ain't had a touchdown since, week -3. Zay Jones has been on the rise a little bit. I like Adam Thielen's matchup today against the Lions. That game should be a shootout. So I'm going to definitely go Thielen. And I think I'm going to go Mike Williams coming back off the injury again, right?
Yeah.
That's so tough. I think, that's crazy. I'm going Thielen, and I'm going Zay Jones.
All right, I'm going Mike Williams and DJ Shark. I love DJ Shark's matchup this week as well. Detroit and Minnesota is going to be one hell of a game today when it comes down to fantasy. So you definitely have some options. So those are our guys that we picked for Juan for his wide receiver 1 and 2. So now you have a chance to put in, he's got some flex options here. Juan Pena wants to know who for my flex Jamal Williams, James Conner, Mike Williams, Noah Fant, Boyd, or Shark. So you get one.
Jamal Williams.
So I already picked Mike Williams and DJ Shark for your wide receivers. So I'm not high on Jamal Williams this week, and I'll talk about that at some point. DeAndre Swift had his highest snap percentage last week since week 1. So
What was the snap percentage?
Jamal Williams only played 29% of the snaps, I believe, last week.
Got you.
And I think, but he did score a touchdown. So he is touchdown. He's a touchdown machine. I want to say he's at 14 on a year, something like that. So I'll put Jamal Williams in the flex right there. And the last question from Juan is tight end spot. Knox, who laid a big fat donut last week in my fantasy lineup. Noah Fant or Hunter Henry?
Noah Fant's probably the most consistent of the three. Hunter Henry's got a good matchup this week, going up against the Cardinals, I believe that is. And I was looking into that. He had 5 targets last week, but it didn't get him too many fantasy points. I think I'm going Noah Fant.
I'm right there with you. I'm going Noah Fant. I think Noah Fant has a good game this week. He had a big game last week. I want to say double-digit fantasy points on DraftKings for sure for Noah Fant last week. So big shout-out to Juan. We appreciate you getting in here nice and early. Big shout-out to Coach Taylor in the building. Excuse me. Says, he wants us to cheer on his Cowboys. I think you're going to be okay against the Texans, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll wait
should be
and
all right.
see.
That should be a good fantasy one for Cowboys offensive players.
Big shout out to our homie Chris Peace, always holding us
Salute.
down on Twitter. We appreciate you, Chris. Thank you for joining us. Big shout out to the guy.
Michael Knight in the building. What's poppin', fam?
Appreciate you joining us. Perry Mack is in the building. What's going on,
up,
Perry
Perry
Mack?
Mack?
Appreciate you joining us.
Y'all late.
Kai 001
Salute
is in
to Kai.
the mix.
What's up, Kai?
One of our resident Dallas Cowboy fans. Appreciate you joining us. Big shout out to Carl in the building. Thank you for joining us.
In the building. What's poppin', fam?
Our guy Lucas checking in from Australia says Awthentik and The Beard fam. Best of luck. Those fighting for fantasy playoff spots.
I'm going to need it, Lucas. I need a win this week. I'm sitting in the 6th spot for the playoffs right now. That's the last spot. I got to get a win this week.
Yeah, me and Awthentik are pretty much fighting against each other for one of those last playoff spots. There could be a scenario.
You a game behind me, right?
I am a game behind you.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough week here. I'm already feeling it, man. I got a tough matchup.
Big shout out to Sean G. Appreciate you joining us as always. I see Stephen White in the building, OG Knockout, Beige Boy is in the building.
Saquon officially active. That's good news.
Yeah,
we appreciate that, Sean G.
They're saying that, but we're going to wait and see, get some official words. The actives and inactives should be out in about 20 minutes, so hopefully nothing changes between now and then for all you New York Giants fans. Big shout out to big shout out. My man, I met him last night, actually, on Whatnot. He was doing a fire stream. If you guys want to find him on Whatnot, it's TMac90 on Whatnot. He is streaming on Whatnot live from Massachusetts. He's in the heart of New England, but is a Denver Bronco fan.
Okay, a little twist kind of reminded me down here in D.C. as a New York Giants fan. Shout out to
Definitely wanted to give him a big shout out. Appreciate you joining us. And, James Funk, always got to show James Funk love because he is always holding us down on Facebook.
Facts.
We appreciate it for sure. And big shout out to Paulie. Hail to the W here on a bye week. Says Awthentik any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, yeah. But we don't get too pessimistic over here. We don't get too optimistic over here, Paulie. We like to keep it realistic over here in that authentic corner. Y'all know what it is. And this should be. I'm preparing myself, Paulie. I'm preparing myself. I don't want to let the Giants reel me in. Hey, here we go, and then take a big L and be upset. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to this next matchup against y'all, Paulie.
Oh, that's going to be a fun one. Big shout out, James Funk. 2 running backs, Pacheco, Foreman, Knight, Homer, or Williams.
It's tough. I mean, I like Williams because he's been scoring touchdowns all year. Deontay Foreman's coming back off injury, I believe. Man. Donovan Knight had a game last week, too. Give me Knight and give me Williams.
I'm going to go Pacheco and Homer if Walker is out. That's where I'm going to go. I'm I'm watching that Kenneth Walker situation. Big shout out Dallas Mustang. We got a lot of new faces in the building. Dallas Mustang, Kai Vase in the building. Oh man, the excuses
was on the Gino reaction too. Salute.
Big shout out. James Funk, Waddle or Kirk? Ooh, that's tough.
Waddle or Kirk? Give me Christian Kirk, man. I feel like Waddle's a real number 2 over there now, and Christian Kirk is just bona fide number 1 over there in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and this is really tough. I love Waddle. You guys know that week in and week out, giving you that Waddle-Hill duo. But Kirk is going to go against Tennessee, the number 32 ranked defense against wide receivers in fantasy football. So I think I'm going to go with Christian Kirk in that. Now, this right here is one of the toughest questions in fantasy football this week. Jeff Wilson Jr. or Raheem Mostert? I mean, Wilson came in the first 3 games and was like the guy. Last week, it was all Mostert. Now you're going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, who have one of the worst rush defenses in the league, and it's like a great opportunity, but you don't know who to play. I don't know where to go with this. I mean, if you're going off of last week, you got to go Mostert. If you're going off of the last 4 weeks of data, you got to go Jeff Wilson Jr. It's a very tough call here. I personally would go Jeff Wilson.
I would too, because you got to go with the one that's had the more consistent volume until proven otherwise, I'd say. It's a risk. And if those are your only 2 backs, I think I'm going Jeff Wilson Jr. as well.
Yeah. Listen, Dallas Mustang, if I have to bench Saquon, hopefully you don't have to, who do you put in your flex? Dameon Pierce, Ayuk, or Gabe Davis?
Gabe Davis. The thing is that the Jets' defense is really good, and they really, really gave Josh Allen and that offense problems in that first matchup. That was a loss for the Bills. But I'm looking at this one as a revenge-type game right now. Josh Allen about to go out here and try and light it up. I got 3 Buffalo Bills in my lineup. I got McKenzie, I got Stephon Diggs, and I got Josh Allen in my lineup this week. I'm banking on them having a big game, and I think Gabe Davis is probably the biggest sleeper. Gabe Davis is the guy that they thought was really going to emerge this year, really kind of has been, I won't say a pedestrian, but been a bit it's consistently inconsistent, just like low productivity. But I think this could be a big spot for him. I like Gabe Davis, and if not Gabe Davis, I like Brandon Ayuk. I don't like Dameon Pierce going up against that Dallas Cowboys defense.
Yeah, it's tough.
And I'll give you a little tidbit about that, even though I had this in another section. So the Dallas Cowboys rush defense, they're ranked pretty low in the league. They're ranked 24th right now. They're allowing 129 rushing yards per game, but in their last 3 games, they're the 8th best against the run. They're only allowing 89 yards per game. So I think that this is a tough matchup here for Dameon Pierce, who's kind of hit a bit of a struggle patch. Hasn't scored a touchdown in like a rushing touchdown in 4 or 5 weeks here.
I love Brandon Ayuk, but what are we expecting from Brock Purdy?
Man, they said that kid was all right. And Ayuk going to get his a little bit in the short passing game. You're going to see a lot of what you saw with Daniel Jones last week, maybe 13 to 15 throws behind the line of scrimmage. I could go out there and do those. I keep funky with you. I could go out there and throw you a couple little stop routes. Get that thing out quick.
I like Brandon Ayuk in that situation. Big shout out to our guy, Cernock. Has only 1 win in fantasy football this year. Can he get number 2? You want to know who he beat?
You.
No.
I just be telling about the way you set the alley-oop up.
Kai
What does that say about you, man? You over here on the internet giving people advice for fantasy football. I wouldn't have told nobody that shit. I'd have been like, wasn't me.
I'm an open book, baby. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get the real deal here at Awthentik and The Beard. Kai 001, flex options, Michael Gallup, Brandon Ayuk, or Pacheco. I like Pacheco.
I like Gallup, man. It might be all in the first half, and then, you see him on the sidelines giving high fives, but I like Gallup in this one. Texas defense is, whew.
Big shout out to our guy checking in from Italy. It is Tuto for the $4.99 super chat. Says massive salute to Duo Kings, Awthentik and Beards. We've bagged another W yesterday. Shout out to Tudo. We're 10-7 now, thanks to the Roadmaps and Nuggets Masters.
Hey, that's not on us.
Italy.
Don't try to give us those kind of kudos, Tudo. That's on you, brother. That's because you in the weight room, you putting in the work. Congratulations on the 10-7, man. Big salute, brother. We appreciate you and appreciate you supporting the channel, my guy.
Oh, big shout out. We got some resellers in the building. Def Pile Pickers here. Glock is in the building. What's going on, gentlemen?
Shout out
How
to
are you
Glock
guys
in the
doing?
building one time.
Big shout out to Sebastian for the $1.99 super chat. Says, I'm a playoff lock, even with a rough season.
Salute.
So, Awthentik and The Beard. Big shout out to
shout out.
Sebastian. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
The SO is a shout out, just so you know. SO is the shout outs.
Oh, I missed that one. I feel a little old. I knew that. Because you know what I need there, Sebastian? I know you're short on characters, but I need a side dash.
A little backslash.
I need a backslash. Yeah, backslash there. Then I would have hit it all for sure. Big shout out to Crypto Moves for the awesome $4.20 super chat.
I like
that.
Says
represent one time in the building. LFG Giants. Let's go. Says.
Let's get it, man. I said my prayers last night. I tried my best to not get out of bed until the absolute last minute, hoping these Giants could pull off a miracle here, man, and maybe shock the Philadelphia world. We'll see.
It looks like word is coming out that Kenneth Walker is going to officially be out. So we're going to monitor the situations. There's going to be a lot of different scenarios there. I think DJ Dallas is probably also going to be out. So it's looking like Travis Homer and my guy from Notre Dame, Tony Jones.
I might have to scoop Tony Jones. I was banking on Deonta Foreman being out this week because he didn't practice. So I scooped up Chuba. It's not looking good. I'm going to need me a running back before we go, into this first matchup here before 1 o'clock.
I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to probably be fighting over a lot of the same people because I have Kenneth Walker on my team. So
I'm getting to it right now. You keep handling what you got to do over here.
All is fair in fantasy football and war.
You know it.
Big shout out to 5-string fling, the art law, Burrow or Herbert.
Ooh, this is tough. Burrow's coming off the big game against the Kansas City Chiefs, man. I'm going Burrow.
I'm going Burrow as well. Definitely a guy here. Listen, Kevin and PRF in the building. I understand the pain you are in. I am seeing a lot of similarities here with you and myself. He says, I'm in fantasy hell this week. Lamar is my starting quarterback. Goddard is my starting tight end. Aaron Jones, Watson, and Brian Robinson Jr., all key contributors, are all on bye weeks. Any Giants on the waiver wire? Listen.
Definitely.
I will tell you.
Richie James on the waiver wire for sure.
I had to dig deep. I got your boy Bellinger is my starting tight end.
That's a good pickup at tight end.
He's my starting tight end.
He's the one that probably see his way into the end zone. Him or Darius Slayton, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
but you never know if there's some garbage time in this game. If there's garbage time in this game, you might be able to scoop like 2 or 3 New York Giants. Probably get you in the end zone in the last 5 minutes. You never know.
Big shout out to James Funk. Says, with y'all's help, one of my teams is 13-0. Thanks, fellas. Others are 12-1, 9-4, 6-7.
That's a great year for you, man. That's all you, James Funk. We appreciate you rocking with us, brother.
And big shout out to Max Webster, as always. Says, I'm sure you both already heard, but Barkley is in.
Yes, sir. Yup. That's good news for the New York Giants for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. As always, we appreciate you guys being here. Do not forget, drop those questions in the chat. Any questions you may have, we will be answering them periodically throughout the show. We got 56 people rocking with us right now.
Salute.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, we're going to run right into some of our favorite plays at each one of the positions. We're going to start with our top 3 picks for the quarterback position in week 14. Also, is my weekly reminder to let you all know about my receipts of Jalen Hurts being a top 5 quarterback. He is currently the number 2 quarterback this season in PPR points. Only 1.12 behind Patrick Mahomes for the number 1 fantasy quarterback this year in the NFL. So, big shout out to the Beard. Listen, I'm going to jump right into it. My top 3 guys. We talked about this guy already a little bit earlier. Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, as a lot of people like to call him. You want to know what's interesting? Joe Burrow averages more yards, total yards, rushing and passing per game than Jalen Hurts. Right now, Joe Burrow is averaging 305.9 total yards per game. He's averaging 26.56 fantasy points over his last 3 games, and he's got 8 total touchdowns over his last 3 games. So I'm definitely rocking with Joe Burrow this week. I'm also going to rock with that guy I just talked about. Sorry, Giants fans. I got to go Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is averaging just a couple of yards under 300 total yards per game. He's averaging 31.8 fantasy points per game over his last 3 games, and he also has 8 total touchdowns. My surprise guy here in the mix, Jared Goff. Goff is about to go off. That's what Goff stands for, going off, okay? He's going up against Minnesota. Minnesota ranks 28th against quarterbacks in fantasy this year. They are 32nd in passing yards allowed. Goff is averaging 21.1 points over his last 2 games, and he's got 4 games without an interception. So I like Jared Goff.
I liked all of it up until you said he's averaging 21 points. So 21 going to get us to the top 3?
Well, he's averaging 21, but he's going against Minnesota. I think Jared Goff might crack 30 fantasy points this week.
I like that.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
That little out you gave yourself there. Yeah, I like Jared Goff too. I had him in my sleeper section, but I'll give you a couple little kudos here as far as quarterback goes for top 3. He's thrown 2 touchdowns in consecutive games. I think that's important. And then also the volume. He's got 35-plus attempts in both those games as well too. And last week was a blowout, and he still had 35 attempts. Hasn't thrown an interception in 4 straight games, too. So he's playing clean football. But I don't got him at the top 3, but I do got him having a good week as well, especially going up against that Vikings defense.
Who else we see in the chat? Lax0fofo with a $1.99 super chat says Darius Slayton or Travis Homer.
Darius Slayton got over 85 yards in 3 of his last 4 games. But I just this don't look like the matchup going up against one of the best secondaries in the NFL. They lead the league in takeaways. They lead the league in interceptions. I'd probably go Travis Homer now that we've heard Kenneth Walker probably going to be out here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Travis Homer also. But Darius Slayton might have himself a low-key big game depending on how that game script gets played out. Shank him up in the building says, I have a huge question. Rachaad White, Zay Jones, or Travis Homer in the flex this week. Currently 7-6, 1 win out from the playoffs.
That's exactly where I'm at right there. That's 7-6, 1 win out pretty much. I got to get a win here this week too. What you been seeing on Rachaad White?
Well, the thing is Leonard Fournette came back last week. He had a bigger role. It's going to be tough, because down the end of the stretch of that game, the 2-minute drill, it was pretty much all Rachaad White, not Leonard Fournette. But Leonard Fournette was, most of the game. This game is probably going to be close against San Francisco. I mean, if I had to go, Zay Jones, I really like Zay Jones this week, but he's also a little bit banged up. I think I have to go Travis Homer in that situation.
Yeah, I feel you. As long as he's getting all the touches over there, because you said it's Travis Homer and it might be homie from Notre Dame.
Yeah, Tony Jones Jr.
Oh, yeah, I remember he had a big game in one spot one time when they were injured in that backfield last year, I think it was. Was that last year? I think that was last year, right? Or is he a rookie this year?
No, it was he's not a rookie, but I think last year the game he had was when he was with the Saints, I believe, last year.
I remember you talking about him. Yeah, I do remember you talking about him.
So we got another question in the chat. Minnie Jordan, 718, Brooklyn in the house. Full PPR, choose a flex. P. Ryan, Bam Knight, or Travis Homer.
I'm glad he brought this up. What's the deal with Mixon right now? He's supposed to not play.
Mixon's in. Mixon's good to go.
Okay, so that P. Ryan is out of here. I'm going Travis Homer.
Travis Homer. Got to go Travis Homer for sure. Any other quarterbacks you want to touch on in the starting section this week?
I mean, I definitely got Joe Burrow there as well, coming off the 30 PPR points versus the Chiefs. He had 2 touchdowns, 286 yards. Joe Burrow's quietly playing some really, really good, like, top 3 type of football right now. And I was sleeping in the beginning of the year. Got to throw Josh Allen in there. Josh Allen's a gut feeling, man. And, that's my quarterback, man. And this is a revenge game versus the Jets. And I also had Jalen Hurts as well, man. So with Jalen Hurts, man, this matchup should be perfectly catered for what they do because they like to start with the run. But Philadelphia, they have had 450 yards and 5 or more touchdowns in 2 straight games. We talked about that on Thursday. That's the first time since 1981. Jalen Hurts, 29 total touchdowns. On passes 20 yards or more down the field, Jalen Hurts leads the league in QBR, and he has thrown a league-high 10 touchdowns. He's got – the Beard told you about the 8 in the last 3 games. He's got 11 in the last 4. I think he kind of left that out just to kind of give Joe Burrow a little bit more rise in stock. Jalen Hurts is playing good football, man, and, real recognized real. I really think this is going to be a real difficult matchup for the New York Giants, and this might be tough, man. Like, we saw it against the Packers. The Packers were, a team that couldn't stop the run. They went out there, they ran the ball. The Titans were a team that couldn't stop the pass. They went out there and passed the ball. Both over 300 yards, 300 yards on the ground, 300 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns on the ground, 3 touchdowns in the air. They know how to attack a team's weakness. So I'd look for Jalen Hurts to be a red zone maniac again this week and probably see a little bit more on the ground. But Wink Martindale's probably going to be sending some blitz, so you're going to see a lot of one-on-one matchups too. So him and A.J. Brown, they're probably going to be clicking this week.
I mean, that's just a perfect transition into this question. Will Hurts have more passing yards or rushing yards today?
I'm going to say passing, and strictly just off the strength of that with Wink Martindale. Like, Wink's going to try to keep Hurts in the pocket and try to make him throw from that center spot on the pocket, not be able to roll out and do his thing. But it's going to present a lot of one-on-one matchups. Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, it's going to be tough to stop them. And y'all know we're banged up at the cornerback position, no Adoree Jackson. We also got no Xavier McKinney as far as safety goes, so this is a tough matchup. The Giants are going to have Zion Gilbert out there in the slot, he's a rookie he was an unsigned rookie, I believe, and elevated from the practice squad just last week. He had a tough outing last week. It's going to be a tough day for the Giants if you ask me. I mean, but the weather, they're saying there's a little bit of rain in the forecast. That might help, but I'm banking on Hurts having more passing yards.
I'm going to have to agree with you there. Shout out to the beige boy, Deonta Foreman or Gabe Davis, PPR.
I think you go Deonta Foreman. It's safer.
Man, that's tough. I do feel you there. Like, I feel like it's a higher ceiling. A higher floor for Deonta Foreman than Gabe Davis. But, you brought up some good points earlier about Gabe Davis, and you know how I feel about Gabe Davis. I've been a big Gabe Davis guy since the moment he got into the league. But to be safe, I think you got to go Deonta Foreman. That would be the safe bet for me, right?
The other thing is, man, like, I'm looking at these running backs, and Chuba was like projected for 7 points in PPR, and I'm just wondering, like, if they know something about this injury that Deonta Foreman was dealing with. Like, is he going to be more on a split type of carry thing? And in that case, I would go Gabe Davis, but it's no telling right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I would wait and see if any more information comes out as far as Deonta Foreman and Chuba split. That's an absolutely phenomenal point that you brought up there. Great insight from Mr. Awthentik. And big shout out to Nick DeWick for the $4.99 super chat. Says, biggest game in 6 years. Show us what you are made of. DJ Saquon Kafka. And
I think that was last week, man. The biggest game in 6 years was last week. And this one is kind of like, if you could go out there and compete, it's house money at this point, because nobody's expecting the New York Giants to win for real. I think next week's the game. Next week.
Listen, it's a reverse sandwich for you guys, okay? Last week was the meat. This week's, the bread. And then next week, you got some more meat. So, it's a reverse sandwich sort of schedule here for the New York Football Giants. I just made that analogy up on the fly. So
I was trying to hang with you there. I was going to look at it more like it's a regular sandwich, because when you needed to go get your bread was last week. That you needed to get the win last week, right? This week, they're going to be slapping you with the meat. And next week, you get another opportunity to try to get some more bread. That's really what it is.
We should put a poll in the
Dog
chat.
walk the Giants today. The rain is probably going to help us out, but realistically, the Eagles are better than us in every room on that team. Outside of maybe like Dexter Lawrence, which we know they got depth at that position too. So for me, it's like my expectations are extremely low in this game. I literally had to give myself a therapy session before this during this whole entire week. I got all the heat out already. I'm just going to watch this game like I told you to be. I'm be sitting like my dad with one leg crossed. I'm going to just try and chill the whole time and not let the Giants reel me in When I see this game get to maybe a fourth quarter 1-score game, then I'll start to be like, okay, maybe I'll invest in it. But right now, I'm like, man, I'm looking at this like, hey, on to Washington, straight up.
Yeah. Listen, this is a tough one here. Simon, big shout out to Simon. Saquon or DeAndre Swift. Look, I would normally say Saquon, but Saquon 50-50. Saquon going against the Eagles, whose run defense has improved over the last couple of weeks. And then DeAndre Swift coming off, like I said earlier in the show, last week he had the highest percentage of snaps played since week 1. I think a lot of people have forgotten about how dangerous of a weapon DeAndre Swift really can be. And he's going up against that Minnesota defense, which is not very good. We saw them a couple of weeks back make Mac Jones look like Tom Brady. So I'm going to go DeAndre Swift in this situation.
And it's been ramping up, man, like since he got back, starting from that like Chicago Giants kind of game right there. I mean, he had 12.2 in PPR, 10.3, and then 21.1 last week. He only has 62 rushing yards, but he's a threat out the backfield to catch the ball. Here's the thing. On Twitter and, the fan base, they've been talking, we want to see a little bit more Gary Brightwell and a little bit more Matt Breida because Saquon had all the carries as far as running backs go last week. And if that's the case, I would probably go DeAndre Swift. But if they're going to go with the typical Saquon game plan, I'm going Saquon Barkley. So I think Saquon might be the safer bet. There is that little bit of an asterisk, though, if Gary Brightwell and Matt Breida see some more touches. But I think Saquon will be the bell cow running back. I'd go Saquon.
It's going to be an interesting thing to watch today. Big shout out to Paul Wall. Rod Slow, homie.
Wall. What up?
Zay Jones. Jeff Wilson Jr., full PPR. And what the F is a reverse sandwich?
I'm going Jeff Wilson Jr.
If I get, word that Zay Jones is fully healthy, I'm going to go Zay Jones. There's too much questions with that Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert situation in Miami for me right now. And then we'll get to this one super chat, and then we'll go into the running back position. Big shout out to Waterfly for the $5 super chat. My God, this is a lot of $9.99. Let's see if I can do this all in one go, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready? No Heineken today. Thumbs up. Shout out Waterfly. Woo!
Let me tell you, if somebody just popped in for the first time and they saw that right there, they probably like, what the hell is going on this channel?
Whew, man, that was like doing a nitrous balloon in a parking lot of a rave, man.
I saw that on a WFAN with Carton and Roberts, right? They had a competition because they were talking about the World Cup. You know how like when they score goals, they be like, goal, right? They tried to see who could say goal for the longest, like how those announcers do. And somebody breached 20 seconds, man. Like, damn.
That's crazy. Oh, man, and big shout out to Morocco. Morocco shocking Portugal, making it to the semifinals of the World Cup. The first ever African nation to make it to the semifinals in the World Cup. So big shout out to Morocco. It's going to be an interesting one. All right, up next, we're going to get to the running back position. Then we're going to answer some more questions. So these are going to be our top plays at the running back position for Week 14. All right, so for all those Cowboys fans that watch Awthentik and The Beard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time here at Awthentik and The Beard, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of flowers right now. You have permission to play Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Matter of fact, you have permission to play both of them in the same lineup because they're going against the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans, as we know, is the absolute worst running defense, passing defense, offense, everything in the league right now, as much as it hurts my soul to say that as a Houston Texans fan. So that's basically all you need to know about that. I'm going to go Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry hasn't had like a really crazy game right now, but I think Derrick Henry has a big game. Going up against Jacksonville, they are ranked 22nd against running backs right now in fantasy points. He's averaging 19.9 fantasy points a game. I mean, that's still not very bad at all as a running back in a PPR situation. I'm also going to go Austin Eckler. You know, Austin Eckler is the ultimate PPR running back, as much as it hurts Awthentic's soul to say that. He is going up against that Miami defense. I expect that game to be very high scoring. I think there's a over-under of 54.5 in that game, and Eckler's averaging 22.4 fantasy points per game. So that's going to be my top 3 running backs this week. Who you talking about this week, Awthentic?
I definitely got Derrick Henry in here too. I don't know why you went with Derrick Henry. I went with Derrick Henry off simply a straight up gut vibe.
I think that's kind of where I was at too. It was a little bit of a gut vibe. We needed Henry.
The numbers
game.
ain't good. The numbers
ain't good.
Have not been good, okay? It's the first time with back-to-back games under 15 PPR fantasy points since week 1 to 2. The other thing is Derrick Henry leads the NFL in drops right now. The reason why the Tennessee Titans are at the top of the league in drop percentage is because of Derrick Henry. That man can't catch the ball. Also, it's the first time not scoring a touchdown in back-to-back games all year. He's coming off back-to-back games with no touchdowns. It's the first time all year. The Jaguars just allowed 139 rushing yards to Detroit. So I do think he will have a bounce-back game. I think King Henry will return to the throne this week. I got Nick Chubb up here as well, too. He only had 8 PPR points versus Houston last week. So when we talk about Houston's defense going up against the Texans, don't sleep too much because they definitely held Nick Chubb in check, and they are the worst rush defense in the league. It's time for a bounce-back game for Nick Chubb. And the Browns really don't got much else going on over there. And I got Tony Pollard, obviously, man, versus the Texans. He has over 20 PPR fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games. He's coming off 2 touchdowns versus the Colts. And Houston is bad. They're very bad against the run. They're allowing 169 rushing yards per game. So give me Tony Pollard on that 100.
Big question here from Clyberson Joseph. Dalvin, Saquon, or Seahawks running back? Which 2 you starting?
I think I go Dalvin and Saquon.
Yeah, I think in that sort of situation, you don't have to force yourself to play one of those Seahawks running backs. I mean, you got to go with the 2 guys that probably got you to where you are right now in Saquon and Dalvin. So that's where I would personally go. Shout out to everybody in the chat who enjoyed the super chat reading. Gilbertson Joseph, Tua or Herbert?
Herbert.
That's gonna be.
I know you're high on Tua, right? I've got this. It's not quite a conspiracy theory because I think there's a lot of truth to it. I think Tua is still an average quarterback.
Listen. I will not beat somebody up for that assessment. Because he's still kind of okay. So he's having his breakout year this year, as opposed to Herbert and Burrow doing it more solidly in their rookie year. And the difference between him and Hurts doing it this year is Hurts is doing it at like an astronomical level. I mean, not to take anything away from Tua's season because he did miss some games, so the numbers are a little bit different there. But I would not beat somebody up for that assessment. I would think you need to see more. If you saw more, maybe some playoff run, and obviously the Tyreek Hill, Waddle
all about the
weapon.
eye test, man.
I
look at the stats, right? But the eye test is really where I start. And this is the thing with Tua. He's played in over 10 games this season, right? He has 21 touchdowns, I believe it is, on the year. He had 6 touchdowns against the Ravens in that game where they came back in the fourth quarter. He threw 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I can't look at a quarterback that has one huge game like that in the year and you only sitting on 21 touchdowns with arguably the best wide receiver core in the entire NFL. I can't do it. His numbers should be better. And then in the biggest spot against the San Francisco 49ers, I think that was last week, you come out there and you can't even hit an out route. Sorry. He's still in that class with, because we always talk about putting weapons around Daniel Jones. I'm not one that's like, hey, put these greatest weapons around average quarterbacks so we can find out they're Kirk Cousins. I'm not about that. I'm not about putting crazy weapons around a quarterback to find out he's not as good as Ryan Tannehill. Shout out to Ryan Tannehill because he be getting it done with scraps over there.
Here you go,
Tua or
bud.
Kirk Cousins? I'm going Kirk Cousins. I'm going Kirk Cousins. Going up against the Detroit Lions, I'm going Kirk Cousins. I'm surprised I didn't think about Kirk Cousins in my top 3 this week. But I'm going Kirk Cousins. Because he's the floor for what you should look like when they put talent around you. Could you imagine if he had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? I mean, I know he's got Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen's kind of aging there a little bit. And then you got to top it off that Tua has probably one of the best offensive masterminds in the entire NFL right now. I ain't hating. I'm just saying. Bro's kind of average.
That's a saying right there. I ain't hating. I'm just saying. You know,
I'm just saying, bro. You know, bro's kind of average.
Shout out to Authentic and Jeez, my guy.
Hey,
it's gonna be a fun game. I think that's one of the better Sunday night games, though. Miami Chargers. That should be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, Chargers get a lot of primetime games, man.
Yeah, and they have a brutal schedule.
Yeah, they do. Losing a lot of close games.
And I think that head coach is on his way out.
Brandon Staley, you think he's out of here?
They do not want. I feel like they're reliving Phillip Rivers right now with Justin Herbert at quarterback. So
they got to figure it out, man. Defensively, they have a lot of pieces. I just don't understand.
There are a lot of pieces have been hurt this year too, man. You know, missing Bosa hurts as well. So it's a lot of injuries over there. But speaking of prime time, let's talk about some wide receivers. Top 3 wide receivers this week from Awthentik and The Beard. All right, let's jump right into it. Mark Primetime 21, you are late. You missed my flower giving to the Cowboys, my friend.
He pulled up with 1 rose, and it was one of them crack pipe roses, that be in the little glass cylinder and whatnot. That's what he pulled up with an obvious Tony Pollard pick in the top running backs section there.
All right, listen, there's going to be a lot of obvious here in the wide receiver, but everybody, pull up your bow ties and start singing Little Rascals because the sun will come out tomorrow with the sun god. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to have himself a hell of a game today, ladies and gentlemen.
That song was in Little Rascals?
I'm pretty sure. Doesn't he sing that song in Little Rascals?
Is that what he was singing to Darla? I don't know, dog.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at one point he sang the sun will come out tomorrow.
In
that movie, maybe? Did I miss that?
I wish my girl was in the chat right now because she would definitely know.
I know it's
flicks.
Annie, but I'm pretty sure he sings it in Little Rascals, doesn't he?
I don't know, dog. It's going to be a no for me, dog.
All right, we're going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god. Listen, he's going up against Minnesota. They're 30th in the NFL when it comes to wide receivers and fantasy points this year. Last 2 games, Amon-Ra St. Brown averaging 34.25 fantasy points.
Got a 2.5 on him. Okay.
2.5. It's gonna be crazy today. Amon-Ra St. Brown, have yourself a game today. In those last 2 games, he's got 20 catches, 236 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Let me piggyback on Amon-Ra St. Brown real quick because I got him in my top 3 as well too. You talked about the Vikings defense 30th in fantasy points, but they're dead last right now as far as allowing passing yards. They're allowing 283 passing yards per game, but digging through the last 3 games, in their last 3 games, they've allowed an average of 345 passing yards per game. That's also dead last, and it's going to be a shootout.
It's going to be a shootout.
Amon-Ra, you got him at number 1? You got him at number 1? Or you just got him in the top 3?
I'm going to go out and say number 1.
I'm going to say number 1, too. I'm going to say number 1 as well. I'm glad we're in agreement there.
Big shout out to Perry Mack says, I'll back that alfalfa theory. I have memories of that.
Okay, Perry Mack. All right, we got to get under the hood and check the replay on that one because it's going to be a no for me, dog.
Somebody let us know in the chat if you get a chance to look at the official replay in the booth. Up next, I'm going to go back to my well. He didn't really hit that top 3 number statistically, but I think he's going to this week because I liked the solid comeback performance last week from Jamar Chase. Last week, coming off of the injury, he had 7 for 97 on 8 targets. And if I got Burrow in my top 3 quarterbacks, I got to have Chase in my top 3 wide receivers. And then to round it out, we're going right back to that Minnesota-Detroit Lions game with Justin Jefferson. Listen, the guy is a guy. He's got 4 touchdowns in his last 5 games. He's averaging 22 fantasy points per game. Detroit's 28th versus wide receivers in fantasy. So that's enough for me to put JJ in my top 3. You going to add who else to this lovely list, Mr. Awthentik?
Yeah, I told you I got Amon-Ra St. Brown. I also got Justin Jefferson. I just like both those matchups. Both those defenses are super average. Should be a shootout there. And the Vikings defense, wow, their pass defense is just awful. But to add to that, I'm going to add Stephon Diggs, man, going up against the Jets. I talked about this. It's a revenge game for him and Josh Allen and that offense. They got to go out there and put up some numbers. Stephon Diggs has had over 21 PPR fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games. He's had a touchdown in 3 consecutive games. He's got 6 100-yard games this year. Hasn't had one in 3 weeks. He's due for one. So I'm going Stephon Diggs, and hopefully that can get me over the top, man, and get me this W and get me in these playoffs one time.
Yeah, let's listen. Hopefully we can both make the playoffs.
I ain't worried about you.
I know.
I'm not worried about you. I'm keep real. You on
Look
that
what
other
happened to left
side?
side, strong side.
Hey, it's just the left side over here today. I'm sorry. And you started off with that 2 points from Derek Carr. It's not looking good for you.
It's not.
Looking good for the strong side.
It's not. Big shout out to Mark Primetime 21, one of our resident Dallas Cowboy fans, says Godwin or Debo. Who we going?
Let's see here.
They're going up against. That's the same game. Yeah. Godwin.
I think
Godwin for me.
I'm going Debo. That doesn't help you at all.
I like Godwin. Godwin, if you look at Godwin statistically over the last, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks, he's been the number 1 guy there in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So I just think that in this particular matchup, I think you'll see more Godwin than Mike Evans. But who knows? Mike Evans is due for a breakout game. But Debo is a really interesting. I don't know. Brock Purdy,
man. Bet you got Mr. Irrelevant at quarterback. What you think they're going to do? Stop routes, runs to Debo, quick little hitches, quick passes, get the ball out fast. Debo should eat, PPR especially.
Very good points by Mr. Awthentik. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? We reached that time of the show where, we're going to put on our coaching hats and somebody's going to be riding the pine. This is the people that you should be benching in Week 14. All right, Coach Awthentik, tell me who's riding the bench Week 14.
I wish we would have did the sleeper section because this is gonna this ain't gonna set you up too well here, okay? I am sitting Tyler Huntley versus the Steelers, man. I know everybody hype, he's supposed to be baby Lamar and all this, and last week it looked kind of good. There were some stats there that made you go, is he a guy? He replaced Lamar Jackson last week, led them to a victory. He completed 84% of his 32 attempts. That looks fantastic, right?
Yeah.
But it was just for 5.8 yards per attempt. That's not going to get it done right there. Of his 32 attempts, just 2 of them traveled over 16 air yards. He was pressured on 36.8 of his dropbacks. And this Steelers defense is no joke. They've held opposing quarterbacks to just 19 or fewer fantasy points in 3 of their last 4 since TJ Watt came back in the lineup. Also got all the Ravens running backs. Every last one of them. Put them on the bench. The Steelers are allowing the 3rd fewest touchdowns to running backs right now with a half a touchdown per game. They got the 7th ranked rush defense allowing just 107 yards per game. And the Ravens are not that great of a running team when it comes to the running backs. I was dealing with Kenyon Drake for a while, J.K. Dobbins, all of them. I don't care what their name is. Put them on the bench this week. And also, y'all gonna like this one. You talking about flowers for the Cowboys fans? I'm about to give y'all some serious flowers right now, Cowboys fans. Okay, Dameon Pierce, I'm benching him against the Cowboys. First of all, he has not breached 14 PPR fantasy points in 4 weeks. He has not scored a rushing touchdown in 7 straight games. I thought it was 4 or 5. It's 7 straight games he has not scored a rushing touchdown. The Cowboys' rush defense, talked about this earlier. They're ranked 24th, but in the last 3 games, they're ranked 7th in the league right now. Now, in those last 3 games, you want to know the running backs they went up against? Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor. just 89 yards per game through those 3 games. Those are 3 of the best running backs in the league. Cowboys, you're getting your flowers right now. Y'all rush defense has stepped up. I'm sitting Dameon Pierce on the bench.
Man, that's some mic dropping information right there. I'm going to give you some mic droppers too. Listen, I'm going to start light and work my way up, okay? So the first one, Jerry Jeudy. I love Jerry Jeudy. Y'all know I'm a Jerry Jeudy guy, but damn, that Broncos offense is horrendous. So I can't touch anything that is riding this week in Bronco country, or for the rest of the season, for a matter of fact. Listen, we saw it last week. It was just not there, and I don't think it's going to be there this week. I am sitting Deshaun, not Randy, but Rusty Watson. This
I can't
week.
believe you doing that, though. You think you had 2 bad games in a row, man? Come on.
I can't see it. I can't see it. But the big, bold sit of the week for me is going to be a guy who's on a team that thinks Awthentik thinks highly of in a revenge game. I'm sitting Devin Singletary this week. I think you're going to see a little bit more passing, and I think it's officially baby Cook season. Okay, so I'm going to go James Cook, and we're going to lead that into the next season. Next segment. But yeah, Dalvin Cook's little brother, James Cook, is taken away from Singletary. So I'm going to bench Singletary this week. Those are my guys who are riding the pine, sitting the bench.
Not too mad.
And
Not too
shout
mad
out to Gregory, because Gregory, every parlay, every segment drops his own into it. He's
That's
like our chat co-host.
do.
So big shout out to Gregory. I appreciate you. Gregory said he's sitting Deshaun, not Randy, but Rusty Watson.
Rusty Watson. Oh, that's a disrespect.
Juju Smith-Schuster, who's had under 7 fantasy points in back-to-back weeks, and the Seattle defense. Interesting. I like it, Gregory. Big shout out to Gregory.
Got to highlight this too. Sexual
chocolate. I've been known to be called that a few times in my life.
Right, let's move on.
Up next, we're going into the section where we give you the guys that might be a guy, might not be a guy, or might be a guy that you didn't know about. That's going to be a guy that you're going to know about in our sleeper section. All right. I got a guy in here who Awthentik said he's got to sit on the bench. Okay? I'm going to try and change your mind right now about my guy, Huntley. Okay? Huntley, 5 touchdowns in 5 games.
At quarterback.
At quarterback.
All right.
Averaging.
So I'm not even going to go there. Go ahead.
Okay, 5 touchdowns in 5 games. Listen, this is a backup quarterback, okay?
Yep,
in relief.
I got you.
All right, 5 touchdowns in 5 games. He's averaging 56.8 yards rushing. Okay, so we're talking fantasy here. You're going to get some fantasy points on the ground.
That's a nugget.
You're going to get your 5 touchdowns, okay? And he throws the ball 30-plus times a game as a backup quarterback. So it just goes to show you that there's a little bit of love and a little bit of trust in little baby Jackson, also known as Huntley. So he's a sleeper for me. Now, trust me, I wish I would have listened to my advice and got Huntley instead of playing Derek Carr, because now I'll probably have more than 2.38 points from a starting quarterback position. Okay, so don't make the same mistake that I made, all right? Now, we're going to go into some running back sleepers. I talked about this guy a little bit when I talked about Devin Singletary. James Cook last week, best game. He had 20 touches receiving and running. Of those 20 touches, he produced 105 yards. He played 46% of the snaps at the running back position last week, and his snap percentage has increased every week since week 7. Besides that, I like Travis Homer. We talked about Homer a lot already. And then Pacheco, we've also talked about Pacheco. When CEH is out of the lineup, Pacheco's averaging 19.5 touches per game and 16 fantasy points. And then wide receivers. Garrett Wilson. He's probably not a sleeper much more, but I got to throw it in there because he is going against the Buffalo defense. He does play with a backup quarterback, but that backup quarterback loves him, and he's averaging 26, Mike White, averaging 26.8 fantasy points per game over the last 2 games. And listen to this, 23 targets in his last 2 games. So he's definitely being targeted for sure. And then we talked about Zay Jones. I love Zay Jones. That Tennessee defense is 32nd versus wide receivers in fantasy points. Do you want to talk about targets? Zay Jones got 21 targets in the last 2 weeks. 21 targets for Zay Jones in the last 2 weeks. And then last but certainly not least, DJ Moore. Nobody loves Sam Darnold like DJ Moore loves Sam Darnold. He's had 23.3 fantasy points last week with Sam Darnold, so I think they're going to be in a little shoot 'em up sort of action game against the Seattle Seahawks, so I like DJ Moore as a sleeper. And yes, DJ Shark as well as a wide receiver sleeper. Shout out Gregory.
I like it. You got some good names in there. You got some names in there that ain't sleepers for damn sure.
Yeah, you
Garrett
always
Wilson
tell me that.
Ain't nobody calling him no sleeper no more. And DJ
He's cheap on DraftKings. He's like 5,600, 5,900 on DraftKings.
They ain't no sleepers. They sleeping on him, but that ain't no sleeper for sure. That almost prompts me to remove one of my sleepers here, but I did have Jared Goff in this section just because I don't think he'll be a top 3 performer. But for me, Isaiah McKenzie versus the Jets, man. I'm going Bills straight up all day long. He's got 15 targets in his last 2 games, 140 yards on 11 receptions, and a touchdown in his last 2. So I'm definitely a big fan of Isaiah McKenzie. I had him on my bench when he had that big breakout game where he had like 22 PPR points. And also, to me, this might be the biggest sleeper in the entire league right now. Okay, and I'm not talking about one of these sleepers you got to go digging on the bench or whatever. You go find this guy, some no-name Joe Schmo. I'm talking about Ramondre Stevenson. This dude, when I saw his projection for this week at 18 PPR points, I was completely floored. Right now, since week 2, he hasn't had 1 game under 13 PPR points, but he hasn't had a rushing touchdown in 5 straight weeks. I think he is due against the Cardinals. This should be a big spot for him. I think not enough people are talking about Ramondre Stevenson, so I got Ramondre Stevenson in my sleeper section.
Listen, Awthentik is out for blood this week. He's out for fantasy football playoff blood.
Definitely. I'm relying on them Bills, man. I'm relying on them Bills.
I'll tell you this. There is a couple of things that Awthentik was telling me every week in the show, and like I've started to learn my lesson. So I leave one blank slate lineup on my DraftKings so that as soon as I finish the show, I just take Awthentik's information and I go build a lineup. Last week with A.J. Brown, that was a killer. Yeah, he talked about A.J. Brown all week, all show long. Yeah, you killed him. So I think I'm going to build it's tough because Josh Allen's so expensive, but I'm going to try and build a Bills lineup, I think, after this show for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's everybody's favorite portion of the show. It is time for Rapid Fire.
That's for my New York Giants right there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into it. And the first game on the slate is going to be, it's an exciting one. It is the Minnesota, M-I-N, not M-I-N-N for everybody. The Vikings are 10-2. They're headed to Motown to face Jared going off. They're 5-7. The Detroit Lions are favorites. The Lions are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is 51.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, who you going with here?
Now, me and you both need the Lions to lose this game for playoff stuff for the New York Giants and for the Washington Commanders because the Lions people think they might be out the mix. If they go on a run, it's going to be a problem for both teams. As much as I want to pick the Vikings, I don't know, man. The Lions have been more consistent with their offense, I feel like. They're putting up 30 points damn near every game, it feels like. Will their defense hold up? I think that's the biggest question mark. I'm going to take the Lions to cover this one, man, and I'm definitely taking the over. I think this one's going to be a shootout.
I'm right there with you. My heart says Vikings. My head says Lions.
Yeah.
So listen, this is for a show for you guys, not for me. So in this situation, I'm going to pick the Detroit Lions. I'm going to pick the Lions to cover. I'm also going to take the over. You hit it right on the mark there. Up next, we're going to Pittsburgh, where basically it's going to be an interesting matchup. The Baltimore Ravens are 8-4. The Steelers are 5-7. I told somebody the other day, I said, listen, there's one thing I cheer for low key. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin to get at least 500 or better. Because I think that's one of the most craziest stats out there. He's never had a losing season. He has a chance here. They're Pittsburgh Steelers, 2-point favorites. The over-under in this game is disgusting.
Favorites. Wow. What is it?
36.5 over-under. I don't know what. I'm going to go. This is so tough. If I were betting, I would buy Baltimore plus 3.5. Okay. Yeah. I'd pay extra to get Baltimore plus 3.5. I think there's a chance Baltimore wins this game, but I think Pittsburgh finds a way to squeak this out, maybe by a field goal. Pittsburgh's the only team in the National Football League who doesn't have a quarterback to throw for 2 touchdowns in a game this year. So,
Damn, that's tough, man. That's tough.
I'm gonna go Pittsburgh to win. I'm gonna go over 36.5. There's no way. That sounds so disgusting.
I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the Steelers. I think they'll cover, and I'm gonna take the under. I need a big game out of George Pickens, man, and hopefully we can get those 2 touchdowns from one of their quarterbacks here with Kenny Pickett at quarterback, 2 gloves. Kenny Pickett, man, I need some touchdowns, brother.
Yeah, I heard that stat and I was like, ooh, man, that's rough. Not 2 touchdowns passing all season long.
Yeah, that's
Can
tough.
that streak get broken today? We will see. Up next, we're going to stay in that division. The Cleveland Browns are 5-7. Shout out to the graphics department. They're headed to Cincinnati to face the Bengals, who are 8-4. The Bengals are 5.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 6.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
I mean, this is rapid fire. Let's make this real quick. I'm taking the over. I got the Bengals to cover. I mean, the Browns are not in their class, but we'll see. All eyes going to be on Deshaun Watson. It's going to be a big matchup. We'll see what goes down, but I think the Bengals take care of business here, man. The Bengals are striding.
Yeah, Cleveland has had Joe Burrow's number, but I think that number that they had has been changed, disconnected. I'm going Cincinnati Bengals, minus the 5.5. Give me the over 46.5. I think that's where we go. Up next, this is a big game with an interesting line. The New York Jets are 7-5. They're headed to the Buffalo Bills, who are 9-3, are 10-point favorites. Over under is 43.
Actually, I thought this game was in. I'm tripping. For some reason, I thought this game was in New York, but that's impossible with the Giants playing, Philadelphia and New York. But
well, technically, it is in New York. It's just upstate New York.
Technically, it is in New York. Yeah, Jets got the ugliest logo in the whole damn country, too, by the way. Y'all need to change that. What is that? What is that? Who drew that up? I could have made that down here in 2 seconds.
That's like
we'll put a football in the...
It's a PowerPoint logo.
Oh, that thing is trash.
I listened. I like Buffalo, but I can't take Buffalo to cover 10. I'm going to take Buffalo to win, Jets to cover. I am going to go over the 43.
I'm taking the over. I'm Bills all day. Y'all know the theme of the show already been Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo. We chasing them Bills. We going after the bag. Bills going to light it up. They're going to cover that 10. I'm going to take the over 43.
All right, up next, we're going from New York, 2 New York teams facing each other. We're going to Texas to have 2 Texas teams face each other. The Houston Texans. Listen.
Original segment.
I was going to say, with all the slack we gave the Washington football team, the Texans are the Texans. Okay,
yeah,
so shout out to the Texans, who are 1-10-1. My Texans plus 4.5 win total is not looking so good. They're headed to Dallas to face the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 17.5-point favorites. The over/under is 44.
17.5.
Are you gonna take the Cowboys to cover 17.5?
God damn. I can't do that, right?
I can't
17.5. Whatever. They're going to cover. 17.5, give me the over.
I can't. I think the Texans find a way to at least cover, okay? I'm not going to take them to pick the upset as much as everybody in this chat who's a Cowboys fan thinks I'm going to do, okay? I'm not going to do what everybody thinks I'm going to do and pick the Texans, but who's coming with me? All right, I'm going to take the Texans to cover the 17.5, the Cowboys to win. I'm going to take the over 44 in that.
It's going to be fun
situation.
to revisit this one right here. 4 o'clock, I'm going to send you a text like, told you 17.5.
It might win by 36 points.
Right.
Up next on the slate is Awthentik and the New York Football Giants are hosting the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 11-1. The Eagles are 7-point favorites. The Giants 7-4-1. The over/under is 44.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, are you going to go with your boys?
The Cowboys against the Texans? The Cowboys are going to beat the Texans. The Giants, listen, I got to keep it funky with y'all, and I will gladly be wrong on this. We about to get dog walk today. In an extreme way. Jalen Hurts this is a prove-it game. You got to think about the last time he played the New York Giants. 3 interceptions. I think they all came in the first half. Struggled throughout that whole entire game. Giants ended up winning that game 13-7 on a last play drop from Jalen Reagor, who they said, "You out of here." After that, shipped him off to Minnesota to return punts or whatever he's doing over there. To me, the Eagles are just a better team, man, in all aspects of this game. Offensively, they're just going to be too high-powered for the Giants. Giants got to come out here and hope for a miracle. I'm praying for rain. Maybe we get a little bit of rain that can help us out. But I'm taking the Eagles in this one. I'm taking the Eagles to cover that 7-2. And it might, let me see. This I had this one like 30-10. I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the under in this one. But I still think the Eagles score a lot of points. I'm
going to take the under also. I am itching to take the Giants +7. If I could get it at +7.5, I might take it. I don't know. The Giants are good at backdoor covers. They score a lot of these. They score a lot of these late touchdowns.
You saw it against the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's a division game. I think I'm gonna take the Eagles to win. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna take the Giants to cover, and I'm gonna take the under. That's my gamble of the gambling right there. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, AFC South. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 4-8. They are headed to Nashville to face the Tennessee Titans, who are 7-5. The Titans are only 3.5-point favorites. The over/under in this game is 41. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be right to it with you. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like the Jaguars in this game, and I like the over 41.
I'm right there with you, man. I just think this matchup is not a good matchup for the Titans. If they can't rely on Derrick Henry in the run, man, I think that Trevor Lawrence in this offense is going to be able to pass the ball all up and down the field on them. Trevor Lawrence kind of coming into his own here, man. So I'm going to take the Jaguars in this one, too. You said the Titans are favored by 3.5, right?
3.5 is the last line I had.
I'm going to take the Jaguars for the upset. I think they're going to cover the 3.5.
I like it. Up next, which is probably going to be one of the more, I guess, the Texans and Cowboys, but this is probably the second most lopsided game on paper. That's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs, the Patrick Mahomes. They are 9-3, 9-point favorites. They're headed to Denver, Bronco country. I like this graphic. Shout out graphics department. The Broncos are 3-9. 3-9, Russell Wilson. The over/under is 44, which is a little weird to me considering the Broncos, I feel like, haven't scored a touchdown in like 27 quarters. Kickoff is at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Who you got, Awthentik?
Man, I got to take the Chiefs in this one, man. Chiefs been playing really good football. I know the Bengals went out there and took care of business against them last week. And I think they'll cover the 9. I'll take the over, man. I think the Chiefs are going to light it up today, man. It should be a bounce-back game for Patrick Mahomes in that offense.
I am also going to take the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Chiefs cover. Well, they actually are usually historically bad against covering, but I think that's just because they always get these large, spreads in their games. Yep. I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover today. I'm going to take that under 44, though. I don't see that happening at all. Another big game in the NFC playoff picture is going to be the Carolina Panthers. They are 4-8. They're headed to Seattle to face the Seahawks, who are 7-5. Seahawks are 4-point favorites. The over-under is 44.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik,
No,
what are your
you go
thoughts?
First.
Oh,
you
I
go
go
first.
first? Okay,
you go first.
all right.
You go first,
Listen,
because I'm going to be reactionary.
I want to... Earlier, I told you I was going to get y'all a pick with my head and not with my heart, right?
Yeah.
I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to miss Kenneth Walker enough today to where a quarterback I hate in Sam Darnold. Somehow, something smells fishy about this game, and it's not the fish that they throw in every TV clip that they show when the Seattle Seahawks are playing on TV, but it's this game. I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers in an upset, and I'm going to take the under 44.5.
We locked in today, man. That's why I wanted to hear what you were going to say. I'm taking the Panthers in an upset here too, man. A lot of people, I think, are sleeping on Sam Darnold, who's not a good or great quarterback, obviously. But in a spot like this, you talked about it, Kenneth Walker being out, I think this is going to be a lot of pressure on Geno Smith. We're going to see what Geno Smith is really made of in this game. But give me the Panthers in the upset, man. I'm definitely going with my heart in this one, man. The Giants are going to need some help, and the Commanders going to need some help. So going with the heart. Give me the Panthers in this one. DJ Moore, do your thing today. Chuba, chuba, chuba. Deontay, I need y'all to do what y'all do.
Chuba.
Right?
I love it. All right, up next is another game right smack in the middle of the New York and Washington playoff picture. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shout out graphics department. They are 6-6. They are headed to San Francisco, who is 8-4. They are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is a disgusting 37 points. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
I'm going to take the Bucs in this one, man. I'm going to take the Bucs. You said the Niners are favored by 3.5.
Yep.
I'm going to take the Bucs outright, man. Tom Brady, just, I can't bank on Brock Purdy in this one. So I'm going Tom Brady. Give me the Bucs, and I'll take the over. I mean, 37, I'll take the over.
All right, for those of you that missed it, I threw a nugget out there. I think it was Thursday night's episode. Tom Brady, when facing a number one defense after week 5 or week 7, I think it is undefeated in his career. Okay? Give me Tom Brady. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Give me the over 37.
That was like
points.
He's hit 47 field goals in a row. The snap is good. It's up. It's wide right. That's what that was right there.
Announcers should just not be allowed to give field goal statistics when a field goal kicker is kicking
Facts.
field goals.
Treat it like golf. Like no one should be talking. Just let it go.
There you go. All right. Prime time. The Miami Dolphins and the authentic, noted average Tua Tagovailoas are 8-4. They are 3-point favorites. They're headed to LA to face the Chargers, who are 6-6. The over-under in this game is a whopping 53.5. Kickoff is at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This game is so tough. I want to pick the Dolphins. I really do. And I want to pick the Chargers. I really
Chargers
do.
have been letting us down all year long. It's crazy. They should be better than they are. I'll go first on this one. I'm going to take the Chargers 28-21 in this one, man. I think we'll get just under that, whatever that 53 was, 53.5. And, it's going to be a close game throughout. The Dolphins have the weapons. That's the thing. You just never know when the Dolphins are going to completely light up the scoreboard. Tyreek Hill take a slant to the house, and you start seeing him doing all this while he's running. You just don't know. But I'm going to still take the Chargers in this one. I think it's a big spot for them, man. Sitting at 6-6, they're going to have to find a way to get some wins here down the stretch. Chargers were a lot of people's Super Bowl favorite at the beginning of the year, man. They kind of fell back down to earth.
Very true. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins. I would take the Chargers plus 3.5. I think this is a 3-point game. I'm going to take the over 53.5, though. I think this is going to be an absolute awesome game to watch. Shootout. And the last game on the slate is going to be the New England Patriots, who are 6-6. They're headed to Arizona. The Patriots are favored by 1.5. Cardinals are 4-8. The over-under is 43.5. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday night. I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals. I do not trust this New England Patriots team. I'm going to take the Cardinals, and I'm going to take the under 43.5.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I'm going to take the Cardinals as well. I'm going to take the under just because the Patriots don't score a lot of points, but their defense is pretty good too, so they should limit the Cardinals a good bit there. Patriots are a surprise, man. They're a surprise this year, with not a lot of offensive productivity. They still got a decent 500 record there. This is a big spot for the Cardinals, man. They got to win this game. I was looking at the draft order, and the Cardinals were in the top 10, I believe, as far as the draft order goes right now, sitting at 4-8. I think they got to win a couple more games here, man. Try to see themselves to a worse draft position, man. And we'll see how things go with this one. But I'm going to pick the Cardinals. Really looking forward to that Sunday night matchup. This Monday night matchup's kind of going to be playing some Apex, put the game on in the background kind of vibes. But shout out to the Patriots, man. I think the Patriots, when they had one of the best logos in the 80s with the 3-point stance, Patriot. But this Patriots logo, too, I'm a big fan of it. Nice logo.
Yeah. I got a super awesome hat for sale. Vintage Patriots one with the center, and it's all big logo. It's pretty sick. What's
the main color on it?
Red.
It's red. Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah. Very, very old school look. Those uniforms the other night were pretty awesome.
Oh man, I love those. And they gave it the white accent, like more white on them. They look dope, man. I love those uniforms.
Pretty dope. So, ladies and gentlemen, that rounds out the Week 14 slate. We appreciate each and every one of you guys for joining us. We would not be able to do this if it was not for you guys. Don't forget, Mondays, this guy over here, Awthentik,
I know, that's so
giant
tough.
Overreaction. I thought I had it, and then I was like, ah! So always opposite. Giant overreaction with Awthentik on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Awthentik and The Beard recaps and previews. It's going to be a big week. Stay tuned for information on the tailgate party live at FedEx Field coming up this weekend. You need a sleeper tight end, a Kongwu tight
Daniel
end.
Bellinger, if he's still out there for you.
Yeah, and a Kongwu tight end for Tennessee Titans. That's my sleeper tight end.
Oquanco, I think is how you say it, right? He's the one they gave the jet sweep to against the Giants on 3rd and 1 instead of giving the ball to Derrick Henry. And we know how that went after that. Saquon Barkley drove us down, 2-point conversion, missed field goal.
Eesh. And I keep saying his last name like the Hawks, young Hawks, then a Hawks player, Nneka Okongwu is his name, and I always mix those two last names.
He's got a difficult last name to pronounce, man. I'm working on a video in the cut about that game, and I was looking at his name. I had to look it up 5 times. That's the only reason why I kind of knew how it was pronounced. But yeah, maybe he'll have a breakout game. We'll see. I mean, what's going on with them? Don't they got Austin Hooper over there?
They do. But he's been getting more burn as of late. He's got like I think five plus targets in the last 3 games each game.
Got you. They run 2 tight end sets over there as well too. I got one for you, man. And I know we're in the same league here, and we're running out of time here a little bit. But Chuba Hubbard, who's projected for 6.8. I also got Jaylen Warren from the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's probably going to get no burn. He's projected for 5.5. And I know you're not high on the Denver Broncos. Mike Boone? Mike Boone's projected for the highest of all of them at 7.1. Do I put Mike Boone in my lineup here?
That's
Broncos country.
Boone, Warren, or Chuba?
Yup. Kenyon Drake, he's projected for 0. I got Gibson on the bench for a bye, and I got Algier on the bench with a bye. So I'm struggling.
I think I would go Chuba.
Chuba?
He's got the best name.
Not Mike Boone? Let's ride.
Boone's Farm.
I'm going Broncos country, I think. I got Mike Boone in the lineup right now. What y'all think about that?
In the chat, let us know Boone, Warren, or Chuba for Awthentik. And big shout out Gregory. My Whatnot channel is Over the Years. That's where you can find me on Whatnot, Gregory. Over the Years. That's a tough one, Awthentik.
Mike Boone, right? Mike Boone, let's ride. Huh?
I don't know. Nobody wants to answer you.
Everybody in the chat is like, who are these running backs he's naming? I've never heard of any of these guys.
Ben Bayou says, Boone.
We're going Mike Boone. Mike Boone.
Josie's parents' neighbor, his name was Boone. Shout out Boone. Every time I'd see him on the front porch, I'd be like, what's up, Boone?
There you go. That gives me reason right there. Shout out Boone one time.
He'd want to talk to me about Washington football for 2 hours. And I'm like, I got like 8 bags of groceries. But big shout out to Boone. I appreciate you. Always holding me down over there on 4th.
That's what's up, man.
Good luck today, sir.
Good luck today to you too, man. I'm not particularly looking for you to win or anything like that, but good luck to you today too. Because if I lose, there's going to be a ton of teams at that same record looking at that 6th spot, man. It's going to be real tough. Come
down to points, and I'm already dug myself in a hole. I need a fantasy miracle today. That's for damn certain. So.
Fabian said there's a lot of rain in New York, so maybe the Giants could get a miracle today too, man. Shout out to all of y'all, man, for tuning in, rocking with us. Best of luck in all your fantasy games, man. This was a good show. Solid vibes here, man. You got about a good half an hour before you can get your lineup set and get your lineup straight. Bunch of 1 o'clock games here, man. I'm looking forward to it. Get your red zone prepared, man. Get it all ready. It's going to be a good Sunday football. We're already here. It felt like on Tuesday, I was like, man, the week's kind of moving by kind of slow. I just want to get to this Eagles game and kind of get it over with so I can just start looking forward to week 15, getting ready for the Commanders. And here we are, man, on a Sunday, man. This is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. And again, man, appreciate all of y'all for pulling up, man. We couldn't do this without y'all, man. Salute to the gang one time. Y'all know what it is. The fam is in the building. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams, y'all, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Big shout out to the podcast GOAT Combat Jack and my brother Premium Pete. Enjoy y'all Sunday, man. It's going to be some good games, man. It's going to be some good games. Best of luck to all of y'all. Best of luck to your teams as long as they're not playing mine. Y'all be good. Peace.